I want to turn to Jeffrey Robinson again in New York. You might not believe it, listening to the current media reportage of this in the States, but America does have a fine tradition of street protests going back a few decades. Do you think the protests now, particularly in Washington and New York, will make any kind of dent on public opinion or indeed government opinion?
You know, you and I are old men. We remember the civil rights protests of the early 60s and the Vietnam protests of the late 60s. This doesn't look anything like that. This is very different. This is a leaderless revolution. How long it'll last depends on how they get through the winter. It's a gorgeous day in New York today, a little windy, but if they're there 6 weeks or 7 or 8 weeks from now when it rains and snows and manage to get through the winter, it's going to have a serious reflection on the 2012 election. But if they disband with the bad weather, who knows where it goes.
But Jeffrey, do you think there is a kind of coherent motivation at the heart of the protests to keep them going? Do you think they'll keep getting more support?
It keeps growing. I mean, they're in hundreds of American cities. There's a place called Gouldsboro, Pennsylvania, that I never even heard of. Population 6 or maybe 1,400. They've got an Occupy Gouldsboro movement going. It's all over the country. Whether or not they manage to stay in Zuccotti Park really depends on the owners of the park, which is a private company. And it turned out they were trying to get them out yesterday morning with the excuse of saying the park needed to be cleaned. So this bunch in Zuccotti Park cleaned the park the night before. It now turns out that Mayor Bloomberg's girlfriend is on the board of directors of the company that owns the park. Conflict of interest. You'll be hearing more about that. Indeed. No one knows where it goes. It's less than a month old, and it's gone this far. Who knows where it'll be in 2 or 3 months' time?
Indeed. Well, we wait with interest. Jeffrey Robinson in New York, thanks very much indeed. Also, our thanks